Are you struggling to find the right path for your weight loss goals? Well, join the club. There are a couple of new game changers in town, though, that you've likely heard of: semaglutide or Wegovy, or tirzapetide or Monjaro. Hopefully, say goodbye to the confusion surrounding these medications. In this short video, I want to untangle some of the misinformation about these medications and equip you with the knowledge you need to decide if these are a good choice for you. My name is Michelle Clay. This is me in the picture. I'm a family nurse practitioner, and after years of struggling with my weight and trying every diet under the sun, I finally have had success with semaglutide. And once I've done that, I've made it my mission to help other people do the same. And after working with hundreds of patients to lose thousands of pounds, I realized more than ever that the information about weight loss in general is overwhelming and confusing. It's contradictory, and a lot of times it's just hard to know what to do and where to start. So, hopefully, in this short presentation, we're going to go over some things that will give you the information you need, in particular about these medications. So, today we're going to cover the peptides for weight loss, semaglutide or tirzapetide, the benefits of these medications, the risk associated with them, potential side effects, and what to do if you happen to experience them, safety of long-term use, and what to do if you cannot get your medications covered by your insurance. So, picture a world where weight loss isn't just a dream, but a reality backed by science and innovation. Semaglutide and tirzapatide are two peptide injectable medications. They were originally developed as a treatment for type 2 diabetes, but now they're commonly used for weight management. They are both a once a week injection that goes into your fat that utilizes an insulin syringe. So essentially, like taking one insulin shot a week. Semaglutide, or Wegovy, you may know it by, has already been FDA approved for weight management separate from diabetes, and the FDA has said they plan to approve the tirzapatide soon. When it comes to weight loss and overall health improvement, these medications have really been making waves the last couple of years, and for good reason. As far as the studies go, they show that they are almost as effective as weight loss surgery. So it's really more than just about shedding the pounds, though. They have been shown to not only help people lose weight, but really address some of the underlying issues, such as controlling elevated blood sugar, elevated cholesterol, and even making improvements in cardiovascular health. So, if you're looking for a good holistic way to lose weight and improve your health, then stick with me as we kind of go over some of the information about these medications. Okay, let's talk about the risk associated with these medications. So, every medication, including these, has risk and benefits. So, just like with anything, we need to weigh those out. So, generally, the risk with these include GI distress, GI discomfort, namely nausea is the most common. There is some potential in kidney function, although that is rare. And then with any injection, you can always have some injection site reactions. The main thing with this medication, if you're on it, is to stay informed. Make sure you're staying in contact with your provider so that if you are having any issues, they can help you navigate that. As we think about weighing the risk and benefits, we need to look at both sides of the equation and realize that yes, there are risks with these medications, but there are also substantial risks from obesity itself. Of course, those are typically well known: diabetes, of course, heart disease, high blood pressure, increased risk of several types of cancer, and stroke. Really, overall, studies show that if patients who are obese have an all-cause risk of mortality, which basically means they're more at risk of dying, period. So each choice we make, you have to weigh the good and the bad and decide for yourself which one is more riskier for you. So let's talk about some of the side effects. That's always a common concern for people, and rightly so. Now, studies show that most participants do not have any side effects. Only a fraction do. And very few that do have side effects have had them so bad they wanted to stop the medication. For most people that do have side effects, they're typically mild. Most of my patients that have side effects, it's usually at the beginning as they just start on treatment, and then it improves over time as their body gets adjusted to it. The most common ones are nausea, constipation, headache, and fatigue. So let's talk about some things if you do have these side effects, what you can do about them. One thing is to be sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day. That will help in particular with the nausea, with headaches often, and with the constipation. So, water's your friend always, but especially when you're on these medications, you want to be sure that you're sipping plenty of water throughout the day. The most common and most important one, I think, is the to start slow and go slow. You really need to start with a very low dose, let your body adjust, and then very gradually and slowly increase your dose only as needed to suppress your appetite. Patients I've had that have been on the medication before and had issues, when we really start digging into it, usually they started on a much higher dose than I would recommend and increased it too quickly. So when we restart, go very slow, then generally they don't have any issues, or if they do have any side effects, it's very mild. You want to be sure that you're staying in contact with your provider. If you're having any issues at all, let them know and they can kind of guide you through those side effects. Also, there's over the counter remedies that are typically all anyone needs. There's ginger or peppermint for the nausea. Also, there's a vitamin B tincture, like a liquid drops you can put under your tongue that's good for the nausea. And then you can just use typical over the counter Tylenol or whatever if you happen to have a headache. It's usually all that you need. You want to be sure that you stay patient. Usually, side effects are limited, usually the first 2 or 3 weeks, and generally after that, they tend to go away as your body adapts to the medication. You want to be sure you stay consistent, be sure you're drinking your water, you're staying in contact with your doctor, you're taking your injections, and all of those things so that that can also make a positive impact. I encourage if you're having any issues to kind of keep a journal and monitor any side effects you have. Sometimes you can see patterns and realize, oh, I'm getting nauseated every day after I take my vitamins. Okay, well, let's change the timing of that. Things like that that can kind of help you navigate those as well and are useful for your provider. And then, last but not least, there are prescriptions that you can take for potential side effects you might have. Occasionally, not very often, but I have called in, say, Zofran, which is a prescription medication for nausea for patients that might be having, a harder time of it at the beginning. So there are potential side effects, but generally they're manageable, they're mild, and they're usually just last for a short time. So keep that in mind when you're making a decision for yourself. Okay, let's talk about long-term use. One question I get most frequently from patients is this something I'm going to have to take forever? And I think that's a valid question and something you need to consider when you're deciding if this is a good option for you. So I tell my patients that it really depends. These medications don't break anything in your body that would make you dependent on them forever, but they also don't magically fix anything that would prevent you from ever regaining your weight. So I encourage my patients to use this as one tool and to really focus on other healthy habits, healthy diet, healthy things that they can do long term so that they can maintain their weight loss. However, obesity is considered a chronic health condition, and just like a diabetic may need insulin long term to manage their disease, if you're obese and you've struggled with it for most of your life, then chances are you very well may need long-term treatment for that condition as well. So for most of my patients that need long-term use of this medication, it would be a low dose that they would take 2 to 3 times a month to maintain their weight loss. Studies do show, though, that these medications continue to offer benefits over time. So it's not like some things where you might take it for a little while, it's effective, and then the effectiveness tends to go away. These continue to be effective, and they're also safe for use long term. So if you need to have to take them long term, it's a safe option. Okay, so insurance, that's a big problem for a lot of people. So a lot of people, these are the most common things I see. Either insurance simply won't cover, coverage was granted maybe for 2 or 3 months, and then now your insurance won't cover it anymore, or your insurance covers it, but your pharmacy can't get it, or your insurance covers it, your pharmacy can get it, but your copay is still ridiculously expensive. That was my case. Well, I don't know that I would have been covered, but when I called, the amount was like over $1,000, so it wasn't even worth checking into. So, the general requirements, if you're not for sure, the medication requirements are that your BMI is in the obese category, or your BMI is in the overweight category, and you have one other cardiovascular condition such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, something like that. That's really the umbrella of these are good option for you. Now, insurance has different rules and regulations. If you don't know for sure, then what I suggest is that you call your pharmacy and just say, if my insurance were to cover these, can you get these medications? And if you can, what would my copay be with my particular insurance? And they can run that and give you an idea. I did that and it was so astronomical. I knew that wasn't a valid option. So, an alternative, and this is where what I really specialize in, is for people who want these medications. They're a good option for them, but they just simply can't afford them or can't get them. So that is to obtain these from a compounded pharmacy. And because the medications aren't readily available, but are needed by so many people, the FDA is allowing them currently to be produced in a compounding pharmacy. So there's some considerations with that. If you do that option, you want to be sure that you're getting the medications from a good compounding pharmacy. They need to be an FDA approved facility, and that will mean that they have very high standards they have to meet 100% of the time. And that these pharmacies need to be a pharmacy located in the United States so that they have to meet our regulations here. Um, and then they still require a prescription, but the costs are much more affordable. So typically, those prices start around about $25 a week. If you happen to have a healthcare spending account or a flexible spending account, these are often reimbursable for them for these medications as well, even from a compounding pharmacy. So that's something to keep in mind. So, just kind of a summary. I know this hasn't been very long, but I wanted to keep it short and sweet and just get to the point. But we've talked about the peptides, that they're really they're the best thing we've seen so far for weight loss, bar none. They have more benefits than just weight loss. They're very cardiovascular friendly. There are risks with these medications. There are risks with obesity. So you need to weigh those options for yourself and decide which is riskier for you. There are side effects. They're generally mild and manageable. They're safe for long term use. They don't necessarily have to be used long term, but if needed, they can be. And there can be affordable. Even if your insurance doesn't pay, there are some affordable options using compounded pharmacy. I personally have only used compounded formula and have used that for my patients, and it's worked very, very well. So that's it. I want to thank you for listening. If you found this helpful, I encourage you to share it with someone else. If you have additional questions, please let me know. If you happen to live in Kentucky, then I could potentially prescribe for you. And if you're interested in that, you can go to my website at michellclayfnp.com. I'm also going to put a link to book a free consultation. I'm also going to put a link for a free quiz in the section above that just has a few questions. You can sign up for that. I get those quiz results and we'll review those and then email you back. Also, you can follow me for more information on my Facebook page called Balanced Health. Thanks so much for watching.